All right, we've made it to the end of the week. Good for you. Thank goodness for Trent Valley, and good for me, too. Welcome to X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Glad you're with us. We really are. We always appreciate you spending just a little bit of your time with us during the week. We hope you enjoy the show. We hope you participate in the show. How do you do that? The Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. The text line, Sports Radio 21,000. This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Busy morning. All right, here's what we've got for you. On tap, 7:18, Mitch Lyons is going to join us. We're going to talk Super Bowl. We're going to talk about partying, having a Super Bowl party, what the most important ingredients are, what the key is for each team, and who ends up winning. We'll do that at 7:18. At 8 o'clock, Steve Sparks, friend of ours from the Houston Astros radio network. Very cool dude, former Tiger, former pitcher for the Tigers, and really good knuckleballer. And he's a guy who knows Framber Valdez very, very well. He's going to let us know what we've got in Framber Valdez. Lindsey Hunter joins us at 8:18. Stunning loss by the Pistons last night. He'll talk about the trade deadline and a whole lot more. He, of course, co-hosts the Crossover podcast with Tim Hardaway. And at 8:35, the best hockey play-by-play voice there is. His name is John Forsland. He does play-by-play for Seattle and on TNT. He will join us at 8:35. So, man, what a stacked morning, and I'm really looking forward to it. You know by now, Tarek Skubal won his arbitration case. You can make $32 million this season as the ace of the Tigers. It's not a surprise for you, right? Okay. We all expected this. So now the Tigers have $32 million in Tarek Skubal. They've got $38 million in Framber Valdez, all right? 38.3 AAV per year. Skubal's, somebody said to me yesterday, they almost feel bad for Skubal. Listen to, how the Tigers are treating him. I said, are you kidding me? Are you serious? You're going to pay me $32 million? Feel sorry for me all you want. The $32 million? I don't think so. He went from $574,000 in 2021 to $714,000 in 2022 to $744,000 in 23 to $2.65 million in 24 to $10 million last year to $32 million this year. That's a very steep climb. Good for him. I have no problem with it whatsoever. That's the way the system works in baseball. Keep this in mind. When you start talking about Tigers spending, first of all, by far and away, they have spent the most money in the division. Second of all, their starting rotation is $87 million. The Minnesota Twins' entire roster is $92 million. So when you're talking about spending, and I'm not defending Chris Ilitch here, I'm just saying let's keep this in perspective. Now, you may say, wait a minute, Shep, this is the first year they're doing it. Okay, first year, quote-unquote, all in, taken up by two primary guys, $70 million of that, of the 92 in the starting rotation. They're well over $220 million on their payroll. That's pretty damn good, okay? They are top 11. They're 11th in Major League Baseball. So I used to say this to people all the time. They say, I want him to spend. Okay, fair enough. How much is enough? Where do you want to rank? Because last year they were 15, 16, somewhere 16, I believe, last year in spending. Now you're 11. My argument has always been this. Yes, I want them to spend. I'd like them to spend wisely. I'd like them to spend at everyday positions more than anything else. That's Pollyannish. You're getting probably the best 1-2 punch, definitely in the division. It's in the argument with Toronto in the American League, and if you throw in the National League with Philly and the Dodgers, Padres, I mean, you're top 5 1-2 punch, okay? And this can work for you by having that type of starting staff if your defense is really good. So let's hope that improves. And if your offense at times struggles, which every offense does, every single offense in Major League Baseball is going to struggle at some point during the season. And I would remind you that last year, Detroit was, I think, ranked 11th in runs scored. So maybe the offense isn't as bad as what we perceive it to be. My whole point has been power, bat, right side, and I would like better defense on the infield, especially with Framber Valdez, because he's, a ground ball pitcher. So maybe they're going to be better than I originally thought, and I hope they are. So Scooble, is on the dotted line. That's great. Wizards lead wire to wire. They shoot 54%, stun the Pistons 127-119. This was embarrassing. Flat out embarrassing. Don't understand how that happens. Don't understand where the energy was. Jalen Duren gets hurt. Tobias Harris was out. Okay, you got enough guys to fill in, right? You would think Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Ron Holland Jr., or the third, whatever it is, Duncan Robinson, Kevin Huerter made his debut. I mean, you should have enough. You should have enough to beat that Wizards team that they put out on the floor. Instead, the Wizards got 69 points from the bench, put 8 players in double figures. Now, and maybe, just maybe, it was I'm looking ahead to the Knicks, which would surprise me on a J.B. Bickerstaff coach team, on a Cade Cunningham-led team. And this bothers me from this standpoint. You're supposed to beat those teams without a doubt. You're not good enough yet to look past anybody. We should all know that. I mean, you're the one who's told me that. You said, hey, the Pistons can't even beat the Knicks. They came close, but couldn't beat the Knicks in a playoff series. I need to see them win a playoff series first. I've stuck up for the Pistons and said, that's ridiculous. I don't understand why you need to do that. Why do you need to figure out a playoff series win before you know how good a team is? This doesn't take away the fact that they're still the best team in the Eastern Conference and one of the best teams in all of basketball. But there was no business losing to Washington last night. I would ask you, and I know this happens in basketball. There are upsets all the time. We get it. Okay. Look what Dallas did to the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. The Dallas Mavericks at the time, at least they had Cooper Flagg. Can you name me one starter from the Washington Wizards? And you can't say Trae Young because he didn't play last time.
Alex Sarr. That's it. That's all I got for you.
And he had 12 points. Alex Sarr. Okay. That's good. I think you're ahead, or you're more ahead than anybody else would be.
So well, the only reason is he was a lottery pick a couple of years ago. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. That's all we got. And you follow basketball closely. Detroit will host the Knicks tonight. New York has won 8 in a row. And remember, Detroit embarrassed them earlier this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. By the way, speaking of Dallas and Cooper Flagg had 32 points last night. So youngest player in NBA history to record 4 straight 30-point games. He's also the first rookie since Michael Jordan in 85 to record 4 straight games of 30 points or more, 5 rebounds or more.
Having a hell of a rookie year, Cooper Flagg.
He's also the first rookie since Allen Iverson in 97 to record 150 points over a 4-game span.
Wow.
Yeah. Michigan steamrolls Penn State 110-69. Wolverines have won 7 games by 40 points or more. That is a Big Ten record. 5 Wolverines reached double figures. This wasn't a fun game to watch. You're flipping back and forth. You're like, oh, my God. They made 40 field goals. They had 15 triples. They out-rebounded the Nittany Lions 44-21. Remember, earlier this year, Michigan went to Penn State, probably didn't deserve to win, somehow found a way to win, and everybody was criticizing him. Now they're 21-1, 11-1 in conference play. MVP was doled out last night. It was a tight race. We'll get to the results of that. We'll get to the results of the Hall of Fame class, and we'll take your phone calls on the Meijer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text us, Sports Radio 21,000. This is X's and Bros, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with Buy 5, Save 5 deals on Watch Party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Huge with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. And you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
I just want to start saying thank you. I'm so humbled to be here tonight in front of so many great people, great players, coaches that make this league so special. Just to be in the same breath as you guys is an amazing feeling for me. To the guys in the locker room, a lot of people have said it, but truly mean it for me. I mean, my name's going to be on this trophy, but there's so many guys, a lot of you here today, and I appreciate the heck out of you for being here. Your name should be on there too with me, and I really appreciate that. This team was really special. It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but man, I'll never forget it. And you guys mean the world to me.
Matthew Stafford at the NFL award banquet last night had his 4 daughters up on stage with him. It was
was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty moving. I thought it was very sincere. How he thanked his owner, he thanked his general manager, he thanked his head coach, and how he's the best leader of men he's ever been around, and he's a good friend of his. And then they showed Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams during his speech. Kyron Williams, when Stafford said, these girls have been my best cheerleaders, and I hope they'll be there for me next year when we come back and kick some ass. And so obviously
he's not retiring.
Way of saying, correct. So that's his way of coming back. But to acknowledge, I always thought that was really important. Anytime you win an award, acknowledge the others who were up against you in that. And
by the way, Shep, I did cut that up a little bit. He did thank his wife first and foremost, which I thought is awesome.
Yeah, he did.
Right away, thanked his wife.
He thanked his wife. Everybody would do that, which is fine. But I love that he thanked everybody who was a finalist for the award.
Yes.
And obviously you want to thank your teammates because you don't get there without it. And you could tell on Puka Nacua's face how much he appreciated that. And then when he says, he'll be back next year, Kyron Williams was super excited. That tells you something about the player. When the player comes out, says something, and everybody else is like, man, this is a relief. I've got my guy back. They truly believe in it. Here are the oldest first-time MVPs in the 4 major sports, in history. Willie Stargell, 1979. He was 39 years old and 208 days. 39 when he won his MVP, and the Pirates won the World Series over the Baltimore Orioles. We are family. Dennis Eckersley in 1992 was 38 years old and 1 day. And then Matthew Stafford. So he is the 3rd oldest, 37 years, 331 days. So he's named MVP of the league. And it was a close vote. He had 24 of the possible 50 votes. Drake May received 22 or 23, and then Josh Allen received 2. That's how it kind of worked out. So that's why it gave Matthew Stafford the MVP. So Myles Garrett was unanimously named Defensive Player of the Year. That's not a surprise. Second time in his career, he's won the hardware, 23 sacks, 33 tackles for loss. Aiden Hutchinson finished 5th. Jackson Smith-Njigba was named Offensive Player of the Year. That surprised me slightly. I thought Drake May might win that. Christian McCaffrey wins Comeback Player of the Year. Mike Vrabel was named Coach of the Year. Ted McMillan was named Offensive Rookie of the Year. Joe Thuney of the Bears beats out Penei Sewell and others for the inaugural Protector of the Year. And, of course, I'm sure every market is like this, but a lot of people I'm sure people in Denver was like, how is Garrett Bowles not win it, right? Because he's one of the best pass protectors in all of football. Lions fans, Lions writers were like, this is an injustice, this is a snub, and so on and so forth. And what do you think some people did? They referred to Pro Football Focus grades. God forbid. Penei Sewell even admitted. Now, his Pro Football Focus grade was still the best of them. I mean, he was by far, I think it was 95. Joe Thuney's was like 76. By far and away better than Joe Thuney's. I don't know if that is that the ultimate goal? Is that what you're looking for? Is that what we're going to use? I'm sure it's part of the conversation, right? But he admitted once the season was over that he didn't have a very good year. He was still named All-Pro, but so is Joe Thuney. Anyway, the Hall of Fame class, and I thought they did a great job of bringing them out, revealing who that Hall of Fame class was. And it was Larry Fitzgerald was named first. Larry Fitzgerald is one of the best wide receivers of all time. He caught passes. Stop me when you found a really good quarterback. Josh McCown, Sean King, John Navarre, Kurt Warner. There's one.
Yes.
Tim Rattay, Matt Leinart, Brian St. Pierre, Derek Anderson, Kevin Cobb, Max Hall, John Skelton, Richard Bartell, Brian Hoyer, Ryan
Go
Lindley,
green.
Carson Palmer,
Yes.
Drew Stanton, go white, Blaine Gabbert, Josh Rosen, Sam Bradford, Brett Hundley, Mike Glennon, and Kyler Murray.
Wow. 2. And the last one's a maybe. Kyler Murray's a maybe. Maybe.
You don't put him in the same breath as Kurt Warner.
No.
That's for damn sure.
No.
Anyway, he deserves it without question. Adam Vinatieri, kicker, and linebacker Luke Kuechly. That's your Hall of Fame class. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, and linebacker Luke Kuechly.
I'm very glad Kuechly made it.
Yeah, I think they're all very well deserving. Okay.
Oh, all of them for sure. But Kuechly sticks
No
out
question.
to me as someone who could have gotten screwed on something like this because he didn't play super long. But when he did play, he was a son of a gun. So
Yeah, sure was.
very glad he
was
got in.
one of the best linebackers of his generation, without question. Perhaps the best of his era. Here's our Mitch Lanswell poll question. Who wins the Super Bowl? New England or Seattle? Just looking to see who you think is going to be a favorite. I saw somebody yesterday. What do you think of the hype so far? It's been minimal. Somebody tweeted this out the other day. I thought it was pretty funny. This Super Bowl has all the hype of a Week 7 game. And I thought, that's a pretty good description. I mean, maybe it's just because we're in the state of Michigan and we've been talking about Valdez lately, Scooble lately, what's wrong with the Lions, Drew Petzing, the comments from Amon-Ra St. Brown, the comments from Jared Goff. Our focus is elsewhere. I don't know how many people are watching, members of the national media. Of course, they're down there. There's a lot of people at Radio Row, and I've been on Radio Row for Super Bowls. There's so many people walking by. You get the opportunity to talk. If you're not there locally, maybe there's a little bit of a little chasm missing to a certain extent. But I do think that, this has not received the attention it would have had we seen even the Rams and Patriots. And I don't know why that is. I don't know
that's a good point, Shep. I
don't know if it's a lack of star power on Seattle and New England. I want you to think just for a moment. If you had the Rams, obviously you'd have Puka Nacua, you'd have Devontae Adams, you'd have Matthew Stafford. I mean, those are big name players.
I think there's more intrigue with the Rams for sure.
Yes.
And that's
with
not to
Seattle,
say the Rams.
If I asked you who the superstar for Seattle is, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yes, for sure.
And there's people at the NFL awards ceremony who can't pronounce his name. Okay. There's also a woman. I don't know who the hell she is. I don't know why the NFL does this. And I tweeted it out last night. Wouldn't it be great to have somebody at the NFL ceremony actually know how to say somebody's name?
No kidding, Shep.
Mike Verbal. How about Mike Vrabel? It's only been said numerous times during the ceremony, but you still can't pronounce his name. Yeah. You go through a dry run on these ceremonies. You still can't pronounce his name.
He's only a top 5 coach in the league.
Phonetically, and you still can't pronounce his name. You have people presenting awards who don't watch your sport, but you think that's important. Okay.
Welcome to award season, Shep.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter to the National Football League. And you know what? I'm the old guy. I'm the dumb guy. I'm the bad guy. I'm the mean guy for bringing it up. Let it go. Everybody, don't tell me if you're watching that award ceremony, don't tell me at one point you saw her say that name and you thought to yourself, what?
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Roger Goodell should have been squirming in his chair.
Can Mike Vrabel go to arbitration?
How about this? How about just guys? How about past greats? That wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd love to see Barry Sanders present an award. Wouldn't you? They were there.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor.
You had all kinds of Hall of Famers in the audience because they came up with their gold jackets. Anyway, I digress. Okay, when we come back, we'll talk about the National Football League's award ceremonies and the MVP. Talk about Tarek Skubal as well being a winner in arbitration, what you think it means. We want your thoughts on it on X's and Bros, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth after this.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
With you here on X's and Bros. Thanks for being with us on this Friday morning. And thanks to a lot of people who have responded to our interview with Denny McClain yesterday. Greatly appreciate that. Thanks to Huge. They replayed it, I believe, at 5:30 yesterday.
Yeah, closed out their show. And you can find it if you missed it. Just search X's and Bros anywhere you find your podcast. But excellent interview. If I can tip my hat to Matt Shepard here. Incredible interview with Denny McClain, one of the greats, one of the greatest ever, a guy who wasn't always beloved by the media, but he gave some great answers yesterday, some great stories, some great reminiscing. It's a must listen. Go check it out.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Trent. He was very good. He was very gracious. I talked to him the night before. Going in with hip surgery, I did not want to disrupt him if he felt it would be uncomfortable. He was more than happy to come on. I'd love to have him on again, too. I think he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
He was excellent as a co-host with a friend of mine, Eli Zarrett, and Gary Danielson at times, and Kirk Gibson at times. So I know all those guys, and we've had Gary Danielson on a number of times. We've had Gibby on before. Gibby's a good friend of mine, and Eli lives right down the street. And to have Denny McClain on meant a lot to me because Mickey Lolich meant a lot to me. Mickey Lolich was kind of, I sat in Mickey Lolich's backyard and did an interview with him for TV. When I first walked up to his house, he kind of looked me up and down. He says, "What is it we want to do here, by the way?" And I said, "Well, this is, we're going to talk about," and I laid it all out for him. And he said, well, all right, I guess we can do this. We sit in his backyard. And we sat and talked for hours. And in TV, you can only use so much, right? I mean, this wasn't a podcast. There was no podcast here.
Yeah. You can't skip.
Yeah, you could have taken the entire thing in a podcast. And we went from, early on in his career, before then to, making donuts, to his pitching and his prowess in the World Series and all that other stuff. It was fantastic. So to try and get somebody associated with him would have been, ideal for me to give him that type of recognition. And Denny McClain was perfect, absolutely perfect for it, and enjoyed it very much. Denny McClain has gotten into some trouble in the years. He's made a lot of mistakes. He's also admitted those mistakes. And by the way, he's paid for those mistakes. And I thought about that talking to him the night before and thinking, first of all, I'm not getting into that stuff. I'm not getting into some of the legal issues. There's no sense in doing that.
You're not digging.
I'm bringing him on to talk about Mickey Lolich. All right. This is not an inside investigation on NBC. So he paid for that. I know he regrets it. And I know he hurt a lot of people with it. And I know he wishes he could do it all over again. But his conversation about Mickey Lolich was, I think, spot on. His conversation about the Tigers, spot on. His conversation about guys should be in the Hall of Fame is absolutely there. Now, I had brought up Bill Freehan, who won 5 Gold Gloves and was an 11-time All-Star. And I brought up Lance Parrish as well. He didn't want to talk about Lance Parrish because he doesn't know Lance quite as well. Lance Parrish was a 8-time All-Star and a 3-time Gold Glove and a 6-time Silver Slugger and a World Series champion, as you know. But his belief of Bill Freehan and Mickey Lolich reaffirmed what I've said for decades, that they should be in the Hall of Fame. If we're going to look at the measuring stick of what Cooperstown is.
Which, Shep, by the way, in the moment, I was so glad you asked that question because, and again, you can hear this interview. Go to, X's and Bros anywhere you find your podcast. But, Shep, that was so important to hear because you have talked ad nauseum in a good way about how Tigers greats and the Tigers organization specifically need to prop these guys up. They have to. That's the only way they're going to get the respect they deserve. And I thought that yesterday, even if it's a 1% bump, it happened.
Yeah, I don't know if neither one can get there, really, if you think about it, unless you've got that quote-unquote veterans committee.
It would take a miracle.
Contemporary committee. It's not possible. I would like to try and lay a foundation. If I were the Tigers, I'd like to lay a foundation of sticking up for our guys. Certain guys you don't need to. Justin Verlander, you're not going to need to. Max Scherzer, you're not going to need to. I don't know which cap they wear when they go into Cooperstown. You don't have to worry about that. I'm talking about in the future, or even guys you could still hold on to, like a Lou Whitaker possibly getting in. I don't know how many other teams do that. I don't care how many other teams do
It shouldn't matter.
I want my team to do it. And
Right.
I don't think they're the only team, by the way. I think there are other organizations that need to do it as well. Red Wings don't have to do it. Their all-time greats are there, except for Chris Osgood. I wish they would do something about a guy who's won 401 games and 3 Stanley Cups. All right? He should be in the Hall of Fame. But I digress. I don't know if the Lions have to do it. Outside of Lomas Brown, maybe Herman Moore. Maybe. I like Herman a lot. Where he ranks on the all-time receiving yards list and receptions and touchdowns, there's a lot of people who could argue against that. All right. So can't let my heart get in the way. I think University of Michigan should be lobbying for a friend of mine like Braylon Edwards to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I think it's ridiculous that he's not in. You're talking about he's one of the all-time greatest receivers in Big Ten history. Okay. He has records in the conference. He deserves to be in there if certain other guys are in there. Go ahead and look at it. I've compared it, so I don't want to bore you with all the numbers, but it's flat out true, okay? I'm not taking up fights that I cannot win. I'm not taking up fights that I don't believe in. For the Tigers, I've always felt that about Mickey Lolich, and I've always felt it about Bill Freehan. Is there an argument against it? You damn right there is. That doesn't mean you don't still put up the fight.
I was going to say, that's just like anything, right?
Absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of people who thought last night, how in the hell is Bill Belichick not in the Hall of Fame, but Adam Vinatieri is? Might be something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or Shep, like how many people do you think stood up and said Luke Kuechly's not a Hall of Famer? Because he didn't play long enough, or he didn't shine long enough. You know, his peak was great, but it was only for 3 years. So how can we put him in the Hall? I'm sure there were people that said those things.
Yeah, they'd be wrong because there's plenty of people like Terrell
you.
Davis and Gale Sayers who haven't played that long and have gotten in because of their impact.
Calvin Johnson.
9 years. Yeah, right. Calvin Johnson, first ballot. So the point is, that's what I wanted to get out of Denny McLain in addition to Mickey Loach. Could have kept him for a whole hour. I mean, at least.
Yeah, you did a terrific job with that.
So I just want to thank everybody for the patience and doing that. It was really important to us. We really enjoyed it, and we appreciate Huge playing it back too, because we give various audiences an opportunity to listen to it. Coming up here today, 7:18, Mitchell Lyon's going to join us. We'll talk Super Bowl there. 8 o'clock, Steve Sparks is a friend of mine from Major League Baseball, former starting pitcher for the Tigers, and a guy who now does a hell of a job as a radio analyst for the Houston Astros. He knows Framber Valdez very well. He will talk to us about what the Tigers are getting in Valdez. 8:18, Lindsey Hunter joins the program, and at 8:35, John Forsland, as good as there is as a play-by-play voice, not just in hockey, but perhaps all of sports, joins us at 8:35. Via text, Freddie, like clockwork, man. It's like shoving the pizza in his oven, and his pizzas are fantastic, I might add, and I mean that. His pizzas are outstanding. They're in Melvindale. The timing is just right on a regular basis.
Keep him coming, Freddie.
From him. He said, our girlfriend went on to better, won a Super Bowl, now an MVP. He's talking about Matthew Stafford, obviously. I don't know what the girlfriend references to. And I think all athletes that left Detroit, this one hurts the most. That makes you think a little bit, and that's a good one. For his accomplishments, perhaps. Now, for me, certain guys, when they left, when Lance Parrish left Detroit, and I've talked to him about this a lot, because I'm fortunate. I've gotten to know Lance for the last 10 years, 15 years, and I've truly enjoyed when I went and covered him a little bit in Erie, and covered him. We talked a lot in Lakeland, and then, of course, during the Tigers season, while I was calling Tigers baseball on TV, I really enjoyed him as a person. He's everything you would hope an athlete would be. He's a class act. He's as good a guy as you can imagine. He's wonderful with his time. He's generous to people. He's polite. He's aces.
Love to
All right?
hear that, Shep.
When
That's awesome.
yeah, trust me when I tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap if you dig dirt or if you're a Hall of Famer. If you're not a good person, I don't want to be around you. I would love to be around Lance Parrish on a regular basis.
That's great.
He's a great dude. But when he left in 1987 to go to Philadelphia, my heart sank.
Especially because he didn't want to, correct? He didn't want to leave.
He didn't want to leave. And the Tigers at the time, Jim Campbell, didn't treat him properly. Or maybe it was Bo. I think it was Jim Campbell. But anyway, either way, it bothered me. And it was one of the first jolts that I had of realizing, you know what? I mean, you can't live in this fantasy world that all your heroes, all your favorite players are going to be there all the time. Okay.
Which is a harsh reality because you
it
fall in love with these guys in a sports sense, you know? And you love watching them.
They bring you the memories.
Yes.
And at the time, I didn't know. You know, you got a lot of people. If you look back at it, if Joe Montana can leave San Francisco, if Wayne Gretzky can leave Edmonton,
Tom Brady can leave Foxborough,
if Michael Jordan can play for a different team other than Chicago, then how the hell can you expect your guy Tarek Skubal today not to play or to play for somebody else? So it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, Freddie says, hasn't hurt this much for me since Lance Parrish. Oh, okay. So he said the same thing. The difference there is Lance, after leaving Detroit, he went to 2 All-Stars and was a Silver Slugger. Okay. In Philadelphia, he was an All-Star. In California, he was an All-Star and a Silver Slugger in 1990. Okay. With the Angels. Yes, they were called the California Angels back then. They own the whole state, I guess. Matthew Stafford winning a Super Bowl. He didn't win a championship. Parrish didn't win a championship. Matthew Stafford won a championship, as you know, and then last night wins the MVP. It seems like he's done all right. The other thing that hurt, and I understand he thanked back to the parents in high school and coaches, not even a mention of Detroit. Not going to lie. I'm more bitter with the Lions until they get to the Super Bowl. Wow. Can you become more bitter with the Lions? That surprises me a little bit, Fredley. For him to say, I don't want to be too protective here of Stafford or the city of Detroit. Why does he have to thank Detroit at every speech he gives? I don't get that. He's thanked Detroit and he's moved on. We've moved on. We sit there and we cheer Jared Goff's name at events he's not even present. We cheer Jared Goff everywhere. At least we used to. Why does he have to come up there when he wins an MVP and say, thank you to Detroit? What did Detroit do for him this year? Absolutely nothing.
You know what, Shep? When I was watching the speech, I was kind of waiting for him to say something, and then I realized I had to remind myself, this isn't a Hall of Fame induction. It's not like he's got to talk about his career. He's talking about the season he just had that he won an MVP. Like, he shouldn't mention the Lions. There's no reason to. He should mention the teammates that got him to this point, which he did, and he had his 4 daughters up on stage, and it was beautiful.
Okay, here's what he could have done. I want to thank the Lions for helping me get one of the 12 wins.
Oh my God.
When I threw for 368 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is that good? I mean, the guy wins an MVP during a regular season, and he's supposed to thank his past teams?
No.
That makes no sense.
Who's ever done that? Ever?
I don't know. I even if they did, I
like,
think
did Shea Gilgeous-Alexander thank the Clippers?
Odd if they did it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, let me ask you this. Should people in Kansas City and New England be upset at Joe Thuney?
No.
Joe Thuney didn't thank either one of them.
Yeah, they're just going about their day right now. They're fine.
I mean, he was the protector of the year, and he's supposed to go up there and thank them? I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. Hall of Fame speech, if Adam Vinatieri gets up there and doesn't thank New England and the Colts, then it's surprising.
Exactly, because that's a career-spanning speech. It's a career-spanning honor, not a one-year thing.
Yeah,
right?
Matthew Stafford does not need to thank anybody in Detroit for what he accomplished this year. He's thanked his coaches from the Rams. He's thanked his family, and he's thanked his players from the Rams. I wasn't waiting for him to go, hey, wait, everybody be quiet. He's going to thank Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson's retired in the Hall of Fame and moved on, for crying out loud.
Calvin Johnson has nothing to do with his MVP season
it's
2025.
ridiculous.
Right.
It is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, let's get to a text. Give me another one. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one actually is a comment on YouTube. You can comment on our YouTube stream. This one says, Shep, you don't think the Yankees and the Dodgers and even the Cubs stand up for their alumni to get them in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think they do. You're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was kind of referring to other teams in other sports. Absolutely. They make pitches all the time, and they should. I have no problem with it. Schools go out there and they do. When I had a Heisman Trophy vote, I got letters, I got emails more than letters. I got it all the time on why their player should be a candidate for fill in the blank, the Doak Walker Award, the Heisman Trophy, whatever. They do it all the time. And I would have no issue, none, if the Tigers did the same thing. I encourage it. I want it. I think they should do it. That's my belief. So I appreciate that, and you're absolutely right about it. Okay? We can ask athletes moving forward at times about that. I think they would agree with me. I think they would appreciate it. I think it's a big deal to these guys. It screams that you've accomplished something in your career, even though these guys will come out and tell you, well, that's not what I'm focused on. It's out of my control. You can help somebody who has brought that much attention and that much honor to your organization. How hard is it for you to go to bat for them? You have to care first. That's the key. I've said that before. I said, look, I'm the guy. I'll go do it for you. It's hard to do it with this platform, but they definitely deserve it. Appreciate the feedback very much. Mitch Lyons joins us 7:18 here on X's and Bros. Anything on your mind regarding Tarek Skubal winning the arbitration case? I think he's happy as hell that Framber Valdez signed the contract he did, and he's going to come in and he's going to dominate this year and break the bank again. We'll talk about that on the other side. This is brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth. Stay with us on a Friday, a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Huge here for the Huge Show that airs weekdays at 3. It's Super Bowl week 2026, presented by DraftKings and the Huge Show, X's and Bros, and the Michigan Sports Network. They're going to give one lucky listener $1,000 in cash to wager on the big game on Sunday. Simple to enter. Just text DK to 21,000. Text DK to 21,000, and you'll be in the drawing Friday at 5:50 p.m. on the Huge Show.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
7:35. We're going to talk about where the Lions wideouts rank. You might be interested to hear that. By the way, some people had asked me. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Trent suggested I talk about this earlier in the week, and my apologies for not getting to it. Somebody had asked me about the deal with the play-by-play rights for Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons.
Oh, yes. Yep.
All right. So let's just address that really quick. So the Tigers will not be on what is called FanDuel Network. All right.
Yes.
Most, if not all, I think it was only St. Louis, were leaving that network. This is people cutting the cord, okay, with the regional sports networks. I think people will regret this in the long run. I think owners will regret it. I mean, it's nice to get a check there, right? It really is. But they paid too much money for the rights, and they paid too much money for the network. Everybody wants Dodger deal. There is no Dodger deal, okay? It's in L.A. That's it. Okay?
Yeah. You're only getting that in L.A., right?
Yeah, you're getting that in L.A., and that's it. And think about how you'd feel if you're the Angels compared to that. Anyway, they're a monster. So you're going to be without that. Major League Baseball has a division, and it's actually run by a guy who was, running Fox Sports. Billy would talk to us every year when we had our baseball meetings. We would go to California, and we have meetings there, and he would talk about the direction of our broadcasts and the direction of the regional networks and the relationship with Major League Baseball. He left when Fox became Bally. He goes to Major League Baseball. Smart move by Major League Baseball. I'm not a big fan of Rob Manfred, but that's a smart move. He brings him in. He has developed within Major League Baseball the ability to do just this, produce games. It doesn't mean it's going to be totally different from you. You're still going to see the freelancers who I've worked with over the decades doing all the sports will still be on camera. You still need Chiron operators and things like that, but that will probably be done in New York. And you'll have guys, this is what happened during COVID, you are producing and directing from offsite. So after COVID, we would go to a stadium. We would not go with our producer. Our producer was back in Detroit. So it's not going to be all that different. Where it lands is going to be the difference. You're going to probably find some cable channel or some channel, some outlet that will be able to carry it. Now, you're not going to be an over-the-air channel in baseball because nobody clears that type of inventory for 162 games. I don't know what happens with the Red Wings. I really don't. I know people thought, well, Illich should get his own network. Well, if it's his own network, does he have that capability? And where's it going to live? You could definitely do that. You could do what Yes does in New York. And I've always felt they probably should. I don't know if he has the right people in place to do that. As far as the Pistons are concerned, and the Pistons and Red Wings will stay on FanDuel until their season is over, I think the Pistons will be an over-the-air product. In other words, you'll probably get it for free, which I think is great. And it's the way it should be. We go to the phone lines, the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843.
Yeah.
Who do we have on this Ferris Coffee Friday?
Right on time. We got Freddie. He wants to talk Tigers with you, Shep.
There he is. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Shep. As long as we don't get those games where they had no play-by-play, where they gave you the day off, they had no play-by-play and no color commentator.
That was for a series, right? That was for a series. That was when there was a combined no-hitter, and they just used 3 analysts. Yeah.
No, wasn't there a game where they did nothing? Maybe it wasn't in Detroit.
It wasn't in Detroit. It wasn't in Detroit.
I know what Freddie's referring to. Okay, I forget which team it was, but yes,
I can tell you. I can tell you. I know it wasn't in Detroit, because I missed one series. It was a weekend series, and it was Simo, and it was Gibby, and it was Dan Petrie. They did all the game. There was no play-by-play.
Yes, from the stands.
Yeah, from the stands, and like I said, it was a combined. One of the games was a combined no-hitter. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that game. Matt Manning actually pitched it. Didn't he start that game? I believe Matt Manning.
I have no idea. And actually, it wasn't Dan Petrie. I think it was Jack Morris. It was Jack, Kirk, and Simo. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But anyways, so listen, on Stafford real quick. I know he shouldn't have. Not. I mean, Trent was right. It was a Hall of Fame speech. It just for guys like me, and Shep's older than me. It just when you don't see the Tigers win since ’84 and the Lions never get there, and you see all these players go on elsewhere. I mean, it's starting to get a little tiresome, and you weren't sure how well Stafford was going to do when he left Detroit, and it sucks. I'm getting really tired of it.
Well, first of all, let me ask you this: you said you see all these players. What other players besides Stafford? What are the players who?
For the Tigers, Verlander, Porcello,
Scherzer.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Hold on. It's not like they weren't good here. It's not like they weren't part of a World Series team here. They were. And with all due respect, how could you maybe not Verlander, but how could you have not seen the Scherzer thing coming? And Porcello, most people in Detroit, they didn't like him anyway, Freddie. They didn't think he was very good.
Well,
they didn't think he was worthy of a first round pick.
Well, I like him. I like.
Well, you did, but I'm just saying in general, the masses. I know. My very first phone call to you ever was me yelling at Leland, taking him out of a game. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I was happy when they were here. I'm upset that they're winning titles elsewhere and we're not winning anything. I'm not a 14-year-old kid anymore. So in '84, I mean, I'd like to revision that because that was the best feeling I've ever had in sports is the '84 Tigers. And but anyways, I digress. So with the Tigers, here's I'm like I texted you yesterday. I'm really glad with what Scott Harris did with the signing of the pitcher. But the troubling things I've been seeing online is everyone's penciling in Reese Olson. I mean, can we be done with Reese Olson? He's hurt every year. And he gets hurt during a game, and he's automatically your fourth or fifth starter. I like to move on from that. That's number one for me. And you brought this up yesterday. It's been concerning the last couple of years is their infield defense. Mm-hmm. Okay, if they're going to put Cole Keith at third base, you got to leave him somewhere. You can't platoon him and put him here and put him there because it's not fair to the kid. But if he doesn't play good defense, they're going to have problems no matter who's pitching other than Skubal. And is there anything that he can do to maybe fix that or do something before the season starts? Or is he going to have to go at third base? Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what you could do. I really don't. We got to take a break.
Yeah.
Thanks, Freddie. I don't know what you could do. Have a great weekend, my friend. Maybe Vierling shares it with him. Okay, because
that's what I'm thinking.
Keith is a lefty,
or McKinstry.
Maybe if Baez is going to shortstop, McKinstry goes to third base. But you want Colt Keith's bat in your lineup. I think he's a good hitter. I do. Well, you probably want his bat in the lineup somewhere. Just a quick thing on the '84 Tigers, Freddie. You and I mean, that's our favorite team of all time. Okay, I don't care if the Tigers or the Pistons or anybody wins this year. My favorite team is always going to be the '84 Tigers. Just keep this in mind. You did experience 4 cups since that time, and you've experienced 3 Pistons championships. So I know it's not what you want. I know it's not a Lions Super Bowl, and I am with you 100%. I'm trying to give us some of the positives that we've been able to experience since the Tigers last won it all, and it's been way too long. It's ridiculous that it's been 42 years, and it's ridiculous that the Lions have never been there and other teams have been down and been able to build back up, whether it be the Cowboys, whether it be the Niners, whether it be the Dolphins, whether it be, the Patriots is the most recent example. When we come back, we'll talk with Mitch Lyons. He'll join us. We'll talk Super Bowl. We'll talk about the various things that are surrounding this big game that takes place on Sunday on X's and Bros. Stay with us.
Calling all of my fellow sports gamblers, the Michigan Sports Network wants you to bet responsibly on the big game, and the best way to do that is through DraftKings. X's and Bros on the Huge Show are giving away $1,000 cash to wager on the big game. All you need to do is text DK to 21,000. That's DK as in DraftKings to 21000. Make sure autocorrect doesn't bite you. Winners will be announced Friday at 5:50 p.m. on the Huge Show, so text DK to 21,000 now.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5 save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5 save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute, and you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
18 after the hour. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. It's a Ferris Coffee Friday. This hour is brought to you by Meyer. We bring in our friend Mitch Lyons, the former Spartan tight end, the former Falcon and Pittsburgh tight end, on a Super Bowl Friday as we get ready for the big game on Sunday. Are you having a Super Bowl party, my friend?
I'm going to be in Chicago, Shep, chasing the Ferris State women, so we're going to have a little watch party with the team down there. And I'm coming off 3 days at Disney, so I've got a lot of steps in. My legs are exhausted. I'm ready to turn my attention to football and get ready for the Super Bowl party. So
no leg workout.
4-year-old grandson.
No leg workout needed for Mitch
none
Lyons
needed.
today. What's the you've been to plenty of Super Bowl parties. What's the best snack / food that you can have at a Super Bowl party? What do you think are musts?
Man, my wife Angela makes these steak bites on a little piece of bread. She crusts it up and it's got a little cream cheese and steak. The kids and I, we love those. I don't think we're going to get those in Chicago, unfortunately, because she won't have the kitchen with her. But yeah, that's probably the favorite.
I love that too. All right, let's get to the game itself. What do you expect from the Super Bowl?
I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think it's going to be lower scoring. Both these defenses are really tough, and I think the team that makes fewer mistakes on offense, i.e., taking care of the ball, not turning it over, and putting their defense in a bad spot. It's going to be an exciting game of probably more punts than we like to see as fans, but I think it's going to be a tough game, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Why do you think it hasn't received as much hype as maybe some of the others?
I don't know. I think, based on my little poll I put out there on social media, I mean, 84 to 85% of people think Seattle's going to win. So I don't know if people think it's not going to be as competitive or what, but I feel a little bit differently about that. So I'm looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, and there's a lot of great storylines on here with, Sam Darnold's resurgence the last couple of years, and Vrabel and Drake May, and so I think there's a lot of great stories to go along with this one.
At least you said the coach's name right, unlike the NFL award banquet last night.
I saw that last night. Are you kidding me?
Was that embarrassing? Was there something?
That was terrible.
The league used.
I thought she was really funny right up to that point, and then I realized she wasn't joking on that.
I don't know. When she said you got to roll that back, I know how to read. That was pretty embarrassing. This is the league that you had blood and sweat and everything you did for the league, and so many of your counterparts did for the National Football League, and they've got to have people up there who don't even pronounce. I mean, they couldn't say Jackson Smith and Jigba either. But the good thing is that he's on a commercial on TV. That's cool.
That was sad. And it's trying to cater to the culture, right? Trying to bring in these Taylor Swift fans to watch the award show, I guess, is the only thing I can imagine. But yeah, that was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, very. What'd you think of Matthew Stafford winning the MVP?
I think that was warranted. I mean, obviously a close vote. I mean, five votes separated he and Drake May. I mean, that's about as close as you can get. But I thought Staff had an amazing year. I mean, 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I mean, that's just absurd. And he's just so good. I love watching the guy play, and it's great to see him get that kind of success and have those kind of awards. He toiled a long time in Detroit and wasn't able to get those kind of things, and it's great to see him be able to get that on the backside of his career.
Yeah, Mitch Lyons Wealth joining us here on X's and Bros. Call him today, 866-85-STEEL, or go onto his website, MitchLyonsWealth.com. It is never too late or too early to start thinking about retirement. He can get you set up and help you for sure. What will be the key for each team? If I said to you, give me 2 things New England has to do, 2 things Seattle has to do to win the Super Bowl, what would it be?
I think whoever can run the ball, I think, is going to have a huge advantage. If either team, if you can establish a running game, it's going to be key for both of these quarterbacks. But Jackson Smith-Njigba he is really difficult to cover. You can't let him just have his way. So I like the fact that the Patriots got a couple weeks to come up, concoct a plan, and Vrabes being a little baby Belichick, maybe he can come up with some kryptonite for this guy. But they need to control him and keep it lower scoring, and so it'll be interesting though. But I think running game and turnovers is going to be key.
Yeah, I think also I don't think a team like New England can get in third down and longs. I think they
Right.
have to stay ahead of the chains. I think it's really
Yep.
important because of the pressure that Seattle can deliver. Which team do you think has the best group or best unit on the field? Would it be New England's offense or defense, Seattle's offense or defense? If I gave you those four, we'll take, the special teams out of it.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go with Seattle's defense. They're all over the place, and can bring the pressure, and they've been pretty solid. I mean, that's saying something too, though, because the Patriots D is pretty tough, and obviously both these teams have been dominant. It's not like they just snuck in and got in as a low seed and had some things go their way. I mean, these teams have been on incredible winning streaks, and they've played well the entire year. So it's gonna be a tough battle, and it's going to be a one-score game, I think.
The Hall of Fame class was introduced last night. Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, Roger Craig, and linebacker Luke Kuechly. I know this is a difficult question, but who do you feel most happy for? When somebody
I'm glad you asked me that, because number one, Roger Craig, he was a stud back when I was a kid, and then was even still playing a little bit, I think, as I got into the league. But he, or maybe not quite as I got into the league, but I love the fact that he was so emotional, and I've seen him previously talking about it, and it meant something to this guy, right? I mean, it means something to all of them. They all got a little teary-eyed, but I just loved how he wore the emotion on his sleeve, and that was a guy that could do it all. He was kind of CMC before CMC was born, right? I mean, he caught it, he ran it, he was electric on those 49ers teams, and it's good to see him recognized.
I loved you mentioned Christian McCaffrey. I thought one of the cooler moments was his father being able to introduce him for winning one of the two awards that he won last night for how much he gives to veterans and his foundation. I thought that was awesome.
Very cool. And Ed McCaffrey, I mean, I always say Terrell Davis had 2,000 yards, not because he was a great running back, because his receivers blocked. And Ed McCaffrey was one of those receivers, and Rod Smith was the other one. So he was a heck of a football player, and obviously he's raised a pretty good son too, because CMC had a great year, and good to see him get the comeback player of the year.
All right, last thing for you, and then we'll let you go, because you got stuff to do here. And please tell Angie we said hello. Give me a final score if you can, but just give me a winner from Sunday.
I'm gonna go Patriots. I know everybody thinks the Seahawks. I think the Patriots. I like Vrabes. He's a team of mine in Pittsburgh, and I think with 2 weeks, he's going to come up with just enough to get him across that finish line. And I'll go. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think I'm going to go 17-14 Patriots.
Wow. Okay, that's great. Well, at least you're willing to say he was a former teammate of yours. Tom Brady played for that organization. They've got a statue of him. He's going to go in as a Hall of Famer primarily because of what he does. And he doesn't even say, I have no dog in this fight. How in the world is that possible? Yeah. That's ridiculous.
I mean, he does. He is part owner of the Raiders now, so maybe he's got to toe that line. I don't know.
Okay, that's a good point. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, you'd think he might have a little of allegiance to his former teammate who he won 3 Super Bowls with, but maybe not.
Exactly. That makes no sense. All right, have a great weekend. Enjoy the game. Good luck to the Ferris State Lady Bulldogs there in Chicago, and tell the family we said hello.
We're leaving Disney and headed to Chicago right now. Take care, guys.
All right,
have a great.
All right, be safe. All right, safe travels. That's Mitch Lyons. Mitch Lyons, former NFL tight end with Pittsburgh and Atlanta. When we come back, now he was a tight end. You don't count them as receivers per se, but you might find something very interesting when it comes to Lions wide receivers and what one prominent cornerback said about a specific Lions wideout. That's coming up here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Meyer on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Calling all of my fellow sports gamblers, the Michigan Sports Network wants you to bet responsibly on the big game, and the best way to do that is through DraftKings. X's and Bros on the Huge Show are giving away $1,000 cash to wager on the big game. All you need to do is text DK to 21,000. That's DK as in DraftKings to 21000. Make sure autocorrect doesn't bite you. Winners will be announced Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show, so text DK to 21,000 now.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Super Bowl 60 deserves a sports book built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year, Sunday. And when anything can happen during a Super Bowl, DraftKings always has your back. It's with a program called Early Exit. If a player goes down in the first half or exits early from the game, you still get paid in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. It's that simple. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the code HUGE. Turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. It's in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. It's for Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio. This is a limited time offer. In case you missed it last night, Pistons were upset by Washington. I was upset because I thought Detroit would literally play their backups and beat the Wizards. Instead, it was 127-119. Washington got 69 bench points. New York is in town tonight. I'm going to that game. I'm looking forward to it. The Knicks have won 8 in a row. Meanwhile, Tarek Skubal wins his arbitration case, $32 million. Michigan steamrolls Penn State 110-69. 5 Wolverines reach double figures. Every player who played did score for U of M, who now has 7 wins of 40 points or more. That is a Big Ten record. Matthew Stafford named MVP. Impressive season, without a doubt. I don't know who voted for Justin Herbert. It seems a little odd to me.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Stafford got 24 first-place votes. Drake May got 23. Josh Allen got 2. Justin Herbert 1.
Justin Herbert wasn't even the best quarterback in that stadium.
Probably not the best quarterback in his division.
Right.
Anyway, Christian McCaffrey wins Comeback Player of the Year. Myles Garrett, unanimous Defensive Player of the Year.
Good for him.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, Offensive Player of the Year. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, although they mispronounced his name when he was introduced. Tet McMillan named Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Joe Thuney of the Bears beats out Penei Sewell and others for the inaugural Protector of the Year. For Stafford, by the way, his second act, in other words, the second team he's been with later in his career, might be the best of any quarterback in history. He is the first quarterback ever to win his first MVP and first Super Bowl, both at the age of 34 or later. So he won the Super Bowl at age 34. He won the MVP at age 37. He's the fourth quarterback to win an NFL MVP and Super Bowl after changing teams. Fourth quarterback to win an NFL MVP and Super Bowl after changing teams. Who are the others?
Peyton
Who are
Manning?
the other 3?
Peyton Manning's
Manning
one.
is one of them. Yep.
Tom Brady's got to be one. Or no. He didn't win an MVP as a Buccaneer, did he?
No.
Jeez. I don't know. Drew Brees never won an MVP, so it's not him.
One's a little bit of a misnomer. One is Brett Favre, went from Atlanta to Green Bay.
Okay. Yes.
And then the other is Steve Young.
Nice.
Those are the 3 quarterbacks, in addition to Matthew Stafford, who have won an NFL MVP and a Super Bowl after changing teams. A little misleading. Hall of Fame class. Drew Brees, check. Larry Fitzgerald, no doubt. Adam Vinatieri, sure. Roger Craig, good for him. And linebacker Luke Kuechly. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day. Simple. Who wins the Super Bowl? Just want to know, is it New England or Seattle? Mitch surprised me a little bit when he said New England.
Me too, but not in
yeah.
a bad way. I mean, he had good reasoning.
At some point, look, you and I both go into this. I shouldn't speak for you, but I think we both go into this thinking, we don't care who wins. I mean, it doesn't affect us, right? It's not like the Lions are playing.
Right.
Okay. New England's got plenty. New England's going to set a record. They're either going to win their 7th Super Bowl, all-time record, or they're going to lose their 5th, all-time record. So they're going to make history either way. Seattle wins, it'll be their second. They'll be in some decent company. It's not like they're threatening New England, San Francisco, Dallas, Pittsburgh territory, but it's still pretty impressive. But at some point you're gonna watch the game. You're gonna go, I'm rooting for that team. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea who I'm rooting for. There's a part of me that likes what I like what New England's doing. I like Drake May. I do. I think he's everything you would want to represent your organization, at least from what I can tell publicly. People have private lives. Maybe there's something wrong there. I like Mike Vrabel. I do. I think it's a really cool story. The turnaround that they've had is amazing. But Seattle, with Sam Darnold, it shows you perseverance. Not everybody goes through life having a clear and golden path. He has struggled mightily, been ripped for it endlessly. And for that dude to come out on top would be simply an amazing personal story. It's not like he's the best quarterback in the league. It's not like he's going into the Hall of Fame. But for what he's been able to do and what he's been able to overcome as much as anything else, I think is a fantastic script.
And that's where I'm at, Shep. I mean, as somebody who on this show last season ripped him on the Vikings for the end of the season and not really believing in him until that point, as it were. But I mean, I can't not root for the Seattle Seahawks. I think the story's awesome with Darnold. I love Kenneth Walker III, Michigan State guy, right? And I just
like Mike McDonald.
I'm fine with him. Yeah, I know he's a Michigan guy, but defensive coach. I love that old school mentality. So I like Mike Vrabel as well. I really do. But I just think the Seattle Seahawks. Put it this way, I don't know if I should fall into this trap, Shep. I feel like the Patriots might be able to get back sooner than later.
Oh, I think
this feels like the Seattle Seahawks here.
You know what? You know what hasn't been brought up?
What's
I know
that?
It's Mike against Mike. It's Michigan against Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's McDonald. Well, he didn't go to Michigan, but he coached at Michigan.
Yeah, he cut his teeth there. Right.
And Mike Vrabel played at Ohio State. So there's a little bit of a
and
Big
Jackson
Ten
Smith and Jigba's Ohio State, right? And then, I mean, you got Michigan State on Seattle as well with Kenneth Walker. But Jackson Smith and Jigba,
yeah,
it's not nothing.
No, I'm not saying it's not nothing. All right, let me get to this. Pretty interesting. CBS Sports came out with their top wide receivers. So immediately you and I go, okay, where are the Lions? Okay, because we figure Amon-Ra St. Brown's got to be his top 5. Jamison Williams, I was looking to see if he's a top 10 wide receiver in their poll. Before we get to that, let me play this. So this came from Radio Row yesterday, NFL Network, I believe. Cooper DeJean, who's an outstanding all-pro cornerback for Philadelphia, Big Ten guy, Iowa. When they asked him the hardest players to guard, the hardest players as a cornerback that you're going to have to cover as a wide receiver. Listen to his answer. I think you'll find it interesting. Go ahead.
Amon-Ra, yeah. I mean, obviously I knew he was good.
Right.
But how strong he is, like running routes and at the catch point.
Yeah.
Definitely surprised me a little bit.
Right.
I think I'm a strong guy, but, going up against him and the way he runs his routes and how physical he is.
Thought that's really cool. You get a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is viewed as a slot diminutive receiver. And it's unfair because he's much more physical than you give him credit for. And Cooper DeJean just let you know there. All right, to CBSSports.com's top 15. Number 15, they have Drake London. They think he's a really good player for Atlanta. 14, Jalen Waddle, who, look, 3 straight years of 1,000 yards and then dipped a little bit. How much do I have to take into consideration the quarterback he's playing with?
Right. I think a lot in his case. I think a lot.
Okay. Well, I would just remind you that Larry Fitzgerald played with Josh McCown and Sean King and John Navarre and Tim Rattay and Matt Leinart and Brian St. Pierre and Derek Anderson, and I can go on and on and on.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
Anyway,
yes.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I personally would take Drake London over Jalen Waddle. T. Higgins is 13. I thought maybe a little low. A.J. Brown is 12, maybe a little high. Chris Olave is 11. Malik Neighbors is 10. You know how I feel about Malik Neighbors. I think he's outstanding.
Yeah, right.
Devontae Adams, 9.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about a guy who's, 3-time first-team All-Pro.
Yeah, Puka's coming up too, so that's 2 guys in the top 9?
Yeah.
Wow.
George Pickens, 8. Had an unbelievable year. And CeeDee Lamb's coming up, so Cowboys with 2. When I got to George Pickens, I knew Jameson Williams was not in the top 15. It's not happening. First of all, you could say earlier than that. Chris Olave at 11, okay? And like I said, A.J. Brown. Jameson Williams or A.J. Brown at 12. I think T. Higgins is better than A.J. Brown, or at least this year. Jameson Williams or Jalen Waddle. Anyway, good debates. A lot of things you could talk about with that. So Pickens at 8. 7, Nico Collins. 6, CeeDee Lamb. 5, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Nice.
Okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown is on a historic tear for the Detroit Lions after going for 117 catches, 1,400 receiving yards, and 11 receiving touchdowns. He's registered 110-plus catches and 10-plus receiving touchdowns in 3 straight years, making St. Brown the first to do so in NFL history. Didn't realize that.
Top 5 feels right to me with Amon-Ra. I don't know how you feel, Shep. It feels right to me.
For sure. Let me reiterate. 110-plus catches and 10-plus receiving straight touchdowns in 3 straight years. No wide receiver has ever done that. Jerry Rice never did that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. St. Brown is also now the owner of the most catches, 547, in a player's first 5 seasons in NFL history. Not too bad for a 4th-round pick.
Not bad at all.
So that to me is high praise. And when you hear that, when you read that and you put those numbers together, you have to think to yourself, really? Jerry Rice never did that? Well, here's what Jerry Rice did, because I'll reiterate. 110-plus catches, 10-plus receiving touchdowns. 110-plus. So Rice had 112 and 13 touchdowns. 122 and 15 touchdowns. The next year, 108 and 8 touchdowns. That's where the stumble came. Put that in perspective for a moment. And the 108 led the NFL when he had it in 1996. That's crazy. Here's the difference. He had John Taylor aside. Amon-Ra St. Brown has Jameson Williams, who's really good, but he's no John Taylor. Anyway, so Amon-Ra St. Brown at 5. Who do you think are the 4 ahead of him?
Jamar Chase.
He's number 1.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, number 4.
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua is number 2.
And I know I'm missing somebody. Oh, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
There it is at number 3. Yep. Honorable mentions. Do you think Jameson Williams is good enough to get in the CBSSports.com?
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Devontae Smith. I'll take him.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson. Really good. Ted McMillan, who was Offensive Rookie of the Year. Zay Flowers. Probably the one guy I'd pass on. And Jameson Williams.
Nice.
It tells you how deep that position is, doesn't it?
Yeah, because there's a lot of number 2s on that list. I mean, and they're not number 2s. They could be number 1s on other teams, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, you have a T. Higgins on that list. You have a Jameson Williams in the honorable mentions. You have a Devontae Smith in the honorable mentions. Guys that are number 2 on their team, but could be number 1 elsewhere easily.
Yeah, I would say Devontae Smith could easily be a 1. I would look at him as a 1B. Everybody else, you're right. I mean, outside of Jameson Williams and T. Higgins are number 2s.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, hell, Devontae Adams, like we said, you got 2 guys in the top 9 for the Rams.
They're 1A and 1B.
Exactly.
Yeah, 1A and 1B. I mean, it's great to have that type of
depth
type of problem
at the position, right?
I think it shows you just the depth of that position and how
talent
it might be the most talented position in the sport. Like when you look at a running back, you and I could come up with the top 10, no problem, and probably be in line with that. Same thing with quarterbacks. Okay. Maybe even defensive ends, I mean, Max Crosby has said, before last year, somebody asked him, if you weren't playing for the Raiders, who would it be? The Lions. Is Max Crosby a top 5 edge rusher? Absolutely. Love him. I love him in a Lions uniform.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
But you're right about that position specifically, wide receiver. I find it so interesting, Shep, because how many teams do you think feel and believe that they have a top 10 guy? Like, I think New Orleans thinks Chris Olave is a top 10 guy. I think Miami probably thinks Jalen Waddle on his best day is a top 10 guy.
I think
Atlanta
really? I think Atlanta feels like Drake London can be, if he's not already, a top 10 guy. Yeah,
yes. I think that position in particular, when in reality, you and I list them out, it's like maybe Drake London might be 16. That doesn't, that's no slight to him.
I think it's a real good debate. And that's where it all starts. It starts with, can you argue for certain players to be in that quote unquote top 10 or even top 5? No question you can, and you're doing that with your running backs as well. So but not as deep. You may argue whether you want Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, and all of us can go back and forth on that. That's cool. But those guys are, the primary top 6 guys, right? In wide receivers, you're going close to 20 deep, where you don't feel like there's much of a drop off. I'm not saying Jamar Chase is the equivalent to Jameson Williams, but there's a lot of teams that wouldn't mind. Obviously, everybody would love to have Jamar Chase. A lot of teams wouldn't mind having a guy like Jameson Williams. Probably not at that price tag. All right, when we come back, Steve Sparks is going to join us. He is the radio analyst for Houston Astros baseball. He'll let us know what we should like about Framber Valdez and maybe some concerning trends as well. He joins the program. Lindsey Hunter at 8:18, John Forsland at 8:35. It's a busy 8 o'clock hour on a Ferris Coffee Friday, brought to you by Meijer.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Dorn Mayhew is proud to partner with the Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Dorn Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is the managing shareholder at Dorn Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on the Huge Show, going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Calling all of my fellow sports gamblers, the Michigan Sports Network wants you to bet responsibly on the big game, and the best way to do that is through DraftKings. X's and BrO's on the Huge Show are giving away $1,000 cash to wager on the big game. All you need to do is text DK to 21,000. That's DK as in DraftKings to 21000. Make sure autocorrect doesn't bite you. Winners will be announced Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show, so text DK to 21,000 now.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Back with you on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. Glad you're with us. Very fortunate to be able to bring in a friend of ours, Steve Sparks, who won 14 games in one season as a Detroit Tiger, part of 9 seasons in Major League Baseball. He's now 14 years deep into his radio broadcast career. He and Robert Ford combined to make one of the best in all of baseball combinations in the radio booth. For the Houston Astros, Steve Sparks joins us here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Sparky, appreciate it very much. I hope you and your family are well. Framber Valdez leaves your organization and comes to the Tigers on a 3-year, $115 million deal. What is Houston missing, and what is Detroit getting in Framber Valdez?
Houston's going to miss. Hey, Shep, number one, man, it's great to hear from you, man. I've missed the last year.
Thank you.
Houston is going to miss the innings and a workhorse at the top of their rotation. Somebody that, when you include the postseason, he's either 1 or number 2 as far as innings pitched. Like, he goes out there and he posts and he gets deep into the games, and that's what they're going to miss. They're going to miss a breather for the bullpen on the days that he pitches. So that's the biggest thing. What the Tigers are going to get is somebody who keeps the ball in the ballpark, somebody who AJ can get creative, not only the day before he pitches, because he knows Framber's probably going to get him 6 or 7 innings the next day, but the day after. So it makes it a better situation for the pitcher the day before, the day after, and sometimes that lingers even more than that. So just a true workhorse, in a week when the Tigers lost a beloved member, Mickey Lolich, who was a workhorse lefty, to the nth degree. They're getting one, kind of a modern day version of one of those now.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I greatly appreciate it. I know you respect the history of your sport so very much. We had Denny McClain on yesterday talking about the great Mickey Lolich, and you being in Detroit for a period of time in your Major League Baseball career, you can appreciate it too. I love the signing. It's a guy I wanted the Tigers to get. I am surprised, and I love it's a 3-year deal, okay, because they get him for he's still in the prime of his career. I'm surprised at the AAV of $38.3 million. Why didn't Houston make a stronger push to retain him, do you think?
It's a good question. It's just their MO, Matt. They just haven't been willing to extend pitchers. They have once or twice, and they've kind of gotten burned. Lance McCullers is really the last one. They signed him to a 5-year deal, and he really hasn't been healthy the entire length of the contract. And we're working on year 5 this year, coming into spring training. So it's been a little rough in that regard. It's just something that they just felt like it's better business to develop some of these pitchers. And I don't know if you remember this, but the Astros had a directive probably 10 years ago where they were looking for a niche in baseball, where they were trying to find maybe older versions of guys that maybe slipped through the cracks when they were 16, signing from Latin America. And they signed 6 guys that ended up being major contributors to the major league roster. And Framber was one of those. He signed when he was 21 years old. It's extremely old for guys to sign that late, but it's just one of those guys that is a late bloomer. They looked at him last of 7 guys one day, traveling around the Dominican Republic. And it's kind of a funny story that we've told probably 15 times over the years, that they saw him throw 15 fastballs with car lights out there so the catcher could see him. And they asked him if he had anything else. It was his last ditch effort to maybe get noticed, and he threw a curveball, and they didn't see it, but they heard it. They heard it hiss, and they signed him because of the way it sounded. Wow. And that's just kind of been the lore of Framber Valdez, the way he signed and got into the system. And being older, they pushed those guys. They made sure that they got their innings and pushed them, and they made sure that they were throwing secondary pitches and fastball counts, things of that nature. And those 6 contributors with Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy, who you had last year, Brian Abreu, the list goes on of guys that have been major contributors at the major league level for Houston.
Yeah, I really like Brian Abreu. A good clubhouse guy, or how much does that matter? I mean, you can relate to that as well as anybody. You know what it's important. about culture. Houston has had among the best in all of baseball. Is he a good clubhouse guy, do you think?
You know what? I mean, a good clubhouse guy, it's really tough to know, Shep. We go in the clubhouse and we have access that maybe the writers don't have. So we can go in there and we can see. And I see a guy that's jovial, that is laughing with his teammates. I see a guy when they do the cutaways in the dugout when we're broadcasting from the radio that's paying attention to the game and laughing and being a fun guy to be around when it's not his start day.
Yeah.
And what I've heard and what I've seen, he's one of the hardest workers that they've had since 2018 when he got up to the big league. He's just somebody that's been very driven. He's very philanthropic. He's built a couple of churches back in his hometown, something that he's taken great pride in. But just, I think there's times when his emotions get the best of him, and it might be ignited by a bad call by an umpire or an error, or what I saw it with more than anything were really cheap hits, very soft contact, slow roller, swinging bunt type hits that might set him off for a batter or two from time to time. So you got to have an infielder go in there and make sure that he's okay before he throws that next pitch every once in a while.
Is he a ground ball pitcher? Because it sure seems like that. And that concerns me as a Tigers fan only because I don't think Detroit's infield defense is very good. What's your take on that aspect of it?
He is one of the most prolific ground ball pitchers I've ever seen. Brandon Webb, a teammate of mine with Arizona. I mean, I was his catch partner. We would play catch before batting, but he could not throw a ball straight to save his life. It's the same thing with Fromber. Now, you'll know when Fromber, this is my take, this is totally me, but Fromber's got a great fastball with great sink. He's got a very good curveball, and he's got a great changeup. The changeup looks like a wiffle ball.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, he'll start throwing a slider. And when he starts throwing the slider, he starts to lose the sink on his two-seam fastball because he loses track of where his fingers are on the ball. On the two-seam fastball, you want to get inside the cutter or the slider or whatever. Obviously, you're on the outside of the ball to manipulate it. And that's when he starts to lose it. It starts to flatten out, and you'll start to see line drives into the gaps. But when he's on, he's a 60% ground ball rate type of person, usually in the top 2 or 3 in double plays. That's probably why the strikeouts aren't great for Fromber, for somebody with the stuff that he has, is because he gets so many ground ball double plays. But that's a big reason why he gets deep into the ball games too. In big games, man, he's had some unbelievable postseason games for the Astros. I'll never forget too, Shep. 2018, he gets called up in August and September, and the Astros played the Angels a couple of times. And Mike Trout, who was right in the middle of an unbelievable run that he was on before he started to have the injuries, said that Framber Valdez was the toughest pitcher he had faced that entire year.
Wow.
And we're just going, what? I mean, this is a guy that was just coming out of the bullpen a few times. But Trout said that's the nastiest stuff I've seen all year. So that made us all take notice.
Last thing from you, and I appreciate it very much, talking with Steve Sparks, outstanding radio analyst for the Houston Astros. Detroit with Skubal and then Valdez. And then I would guess Mize, Flaherty, Melton, maybe Anderson, who doesn't matter much to me. Best 1-2 punch in the American League, or Toronto got him in that regard?
Man, if they're both throwing at the top of their game, man, I really like this left-handed combo. The other thing with that is, I don't think you have to separate those guys in the rotation like you would lefties. Just totally different styles. When you're talking about Skubal with the ride and Fromber with the two-seam fastball, different looks. I don't think you have to split them up in the rotation, but two phenomenal pitchers, and I put those 1-2 up with anybody.
Great stuff. Hey, man, thanks a lot. I hope your golf game's great. Tell Todd and tell Jeff and tell Robert I said hello. Have a great rest of the offseason and keep killing it in the radio booth. Thanks for your time today, Steve.
You got it, Matt. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. That's Steve Sparks. Outstanding. I mean, I'm telling you, man, he's a great analyst for the Houston Astros on their radio broadcast. When we come back, 2-time world champion Lindsey Hunter after this.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
It's a treat this week for me. I mean, it feels like Christmas. I had a chance to talk with Tim Hardaway earlier this week. Now I get Lindsey Hunter. I get the tag team combo of the Crossover podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever it may be. You've got to plug in Lindsey Hunter and Tim Hardaway in Crossover podcast. And he joins us on this Ferris Coffee Friday, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. The two-time world champion is with us. How are you, champ?
I'm good, Chef. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it as always.
All right.
So a little bit of stub of the toe last night against Washington. These things happen in sports, right? It happens in basketball.
Yeah.
It happens in every walk of life. Okay. How do we try to come to terms with it?
Well, I think I was there watching, and you can tell from jump ball until the end of the game that the Pistons just, they didn't have the energy. And a lot of times, when things happen, Tobias was out. Duran only played 13 minutes. It was a lot of things that contributed to us not really performing the way that they were capable of. And regardless of who you played, it's the NBA. And people got to understand, just because a bad team comes to play you, they can win on any given night. And we saw that last night.
50 games deep now, Lindsey. You know what it's like. What's the toll on the body, and maybe just as importantly, the mind right now for these guys and how they're trying to get past a certain hurdle?
Well, it's past the halfway point, almost all-star break, and a lot of guys are banged up. The league, and we talk about it all the time. We hear guys complaining about, well, it's a long season, 82 games. Well, that's part of it. Part of it is to be able to sustain a high level of play for 82 games and to push through to try to win a championship. So it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be a difficult situation. That's why not a lot of people are professional athletes. So we hear all those things, but that's part of like being a champion, being successful at making it through the grind and pushing through to the postseason.
You played 17 years at the highest level. You played 82 games. You played 80, 82, 71, 82, 82, 82. You've 76. You've got guys out there right now, I won't name names, who are saying that it's harder today than it was back then. It's more physical today than it was back then. You were part of a physical era. I'm not saying all 17 years were, but you were part of a much more physical era in my mind.
Yeah.
Compare the two eras without sounding like me. Get off my damn lawn.
Well, it's simple. I tell people all the time, if you want to compare eras and you want to look at, because people say, well, the pace is faster today. Well, no, it's not. If you look at it, today's pace is probably the fifth fastest pace in all eras. The 80s and 90s were faster. More possessions. So that to me doesn't make sense. I can't put my finger on what the problem is, but I really don't like guys making excuses about, it's harder to play 82 games today, because with all the technology and the advancements and treatments and all the things that they have, it shouldn't be. There's today's guys, all you hear about is bigger, faster, stronger. So I don't give them the excuse to say that it's harder today. It should be, a little easier if you really look at it.
Yeah, with personal chefs and the training that they have today, and the advantages from an analytics standpoint too. Two-time world champion Lindsey Hunter joining us here on X's and Bros. Check out the podcast. He and Tim Hardaway, Crossover podcast, anywhere you get your podcast. Detroit makes a move at the trade deadline. Jaden Ivey out. In comes Kevin Huerter, Dario Saric. I was a little surprised. Maybe I value Pistons players more than I should, or any Detroit player than I should. What was your take on the trade they made with Chicago?
Well, just listening to comments from the coach and others, I think that was strictly business. I think Ivy, with his situation of being injured, trying to come back, and the team being ahead of schedule in a lot of people's minds, I think that he couldn't get back to or get to where he wanted to be, and I don't think he got to where the team felt like he was a viable asset going forward. So I think it made sense for him to go somewhere where he got a fresh start, get his feet under him and kind of, set his own expectations, because expectations have changed here in Detroit now. We're no longer talking about making the playoffs, we're talking about being contenders now. So things like that happen. When expectations change, values change, and clearly that's what's happened here in Detroit.
Knicks are in town tonight. It's a team that's pulled within 4.5 of Detroit's lead in the Eastern Conference. It's a team that's won 8 in a row, and it's a team that Detroit embarrassed by 31 earlier this year. This is a different New York Knicks team. What should the Pistons be most careful of tonight?
Well, watching the Knicks in the last couple of games, they've really kind of trying to find their footing. I think the performance they had here in Detroit the last time, they're thinking about that. They're thinking about that. They're thinking about a possible matchup in the playoffs. So all those things go into play. Yet it's still a regular season game, but these games mean a little more when you're playing against a rival, a team that kind of standing in your way of, getting to your goal. So it's going to mean a lot in that sense. At the same time, it's always a measuring stick. You want to see where you are. You want to see, the Pistons are the number one team in the East. So I'm sure that is in the Knicks' mind somewhere, thinking, hey, these guys really think that they can take us. So it's going to be an exciting game, and I think it means a little more because it's kind of a rivalry now because of the way things happened in the playoffs last year. So I look forward to the Pistons bouncing back.
Same. I don't think we should count out Boston either. Boston's a team that has won absolutely 4 in a row, 7 of 10. They and New York are 4.5 back of Detroit. At what stage do you think we start looking over our shoulder at those teams, or has it already begun?
Oh yeah, that has already happened. We know Boston is a proven championship caliber team, so you never count them out. Of course, the Knicks, the series we had with them last year was a exciting series. Most of those games were really, really close, won in the last minute or so. So I think you always, in the back of your mind, you're looking at the standings going, okay, these are the guys that are, going to challenge us to get to where we are. It's not looking over your shoulders, just looking at teams that have, got a little further than we have in the past years. And we want to be the team that everybody's looking at saying, hey, they're looking to make the next step.
The hottest team in the East is actually Charlotte. They've won 8 in a row and 9 of 10, but no one's worried about a team that's 2 games under 500 and sitting in the number 10 seed right now. Cleveland did make the biggest splash by bringing in James Harden. Never been a fan. Full disclosure, I've never been a fan of James Harden. How does he help Cleveland in your mind?
Well, he gives them more firepower. Of course, James Harden's a, unbelievable offensive threat. Not so much on the defensive end. So, I'm kind of like you. I like guys that compete on both ends of the floor. So it's going to be interesting watching how he meshes down there in Cleveland. I think Cleveland is just a unique situation that we have to wait and see, because it's going to be interesting to see how he fits as another ball dominant, star in this league. It's going to be an adjustment for both of those guys.
Last thing quickly, Cooper Flagg last night had 32, youngest player in NBA history to record 4 straight 30-point games. What do you like most about his game?
Oh my God, everything. I think the way he competes on both ends of the floor, he is such a unique talent, Shep. I just enjoy watching him. And there are a few guys that I tune in to watch. I have now become a Cooper Flagg watcher. I look at the game schedules and see where's Dallas playing so I can tune in, because he's exciting. He is exciting, and he's one of the few young guys that he competes on both ends of the floor, man, and he's just getting better and better. And I see the future of him battling with Cade and Wembanyama to be MVPs of this league.
That's quite a statement. Last rookie to have 4 straight games of 30 points and 5 rebounds or more, Michael Jordan, 1985.
Oh, my
Your
goodness.
friend. Yeah.
That's a great company to be in.
That's a power stat. Hey, it's great to have you, my friend. Keep up the great work on the Crossover podcast. Find it anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever it may be. We'll talk soon again. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, buddy.
You too, Shep.
All right. Tell Caleb we said hello as well. When we come back, John Forsland, outstanding play-by-play voice. Seattle Kraken and TNT. We'll talk hockey on the other side. Brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. We'll be right back after this break, but while you're waiting, be sure to vote on our daily poll question presented by MitchLyonsWealth.com at XB Mornings on X.
35 after the hour. Welcome back on this Ferris Coffee Friday on X's and Bros. One of the things I love most in talking with pros is learning from pros. You can learn an awful lot about the game of hockey from John Forsland. He's an award-winning play-by-play voice for the Seattle Kraken and TNT. He's as good at his job as anybody else could be. His team right now is third in the Pacific. They would be the final wild card. So would be the Red Wings. They are. If the playoffs started today, there's only two teams that would qualify who have a minus in the goal differential. The Red Wings and John Forsland's Seattle Kraken. He joins us here on this Ferris Coffee Friday. John, how are you? I hope you're well. Do you think that's a relative stat?
Yeah, I do. And thanks for having me again. Good morning to you. I do. I think that's a relative stat to look at. I often point to 5-on-5 play and look at that. That's a barometer of where your game is. I think the easy thing to do oftentimes is for fans and all of us to look at special teams and dwell on power plays and all these situations that are kind of easy to dissect, and those statistics kind of jump out at you. But usually your 5-on-5 game will dictate your overall success in the most important areas, which are defensive areas of the game, your goaltending, your penalty killing, things of that nature. Those are the things that are going to win. Those are the situations that are going to put you in a good spot in a playoff series, because you're playing the same opponent for 2 weeks, and it's a shutdown game, and that's what eventually gets you where you need to go. So yeah, in my opinion, I think that's a great metric to look at. And right now, the teams you mentioned, Detroit's a great story. The Kraken are an exceptional story based on how they basically counted out by most over the summer and heading into training camp and all of that. But yeah, as of right now, they put themselves in a good spot.
Tampa won again last night. They won 5-1. They're unbelievable. Carolina won 2-0. Detroit got a break. Buffalo lost to Pittsburgh. But Detroit has 3 games, or I should say Tampa has 3 games in hand on the Red Wings. As much as I like what Steve Yzerman's team has done, I don't see how they can win the Atlantic Division. It's such a tough division. What makes you think they could, and why do you think they can't win that division?
Well, I remember a conversation we had at the start of the season, and although it got off to a rocky start, certainly John Gibson has delivered, what he is supposed to do for the Red Wings.
And you liked that pickup. When we talked to you, you said that's a good pickup.
Yeah, that's right. And to me, that's never going to change. That's the thing about hockey. Hockey has changed in a lot of ways, and most of them are for the good. The game's always, generationally played differently as every step of the way. And somebody like myself that's been around a long time, I can remember these transformations and how the game has changed from when I was a little boy to where I am now as a guy that's been in the league a long time, watching this. So I think the goaltending is always, your X factor. It's always something that separates not only hockey, but the sport in general from other games. Because when you look at it, you can get dominated in all statistical categories of a hockey game. And if your goalie's on, you win the game. You really can't say that about other sports. So it's a little bit different that way. So that's helped. The Lightning certainly are a cut above them. And I think, they're the best team in the East. But I will say that the East is completely wide open. And it's conceivable for teams like Detroit and others to Montreal to be, a team that comes in without pressure, and then we see something happen in the first round. In the West, it's different. Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, maybe Vegas, and it can be Edmonton based on their world-class talent. Those teams separate themselves from the others that are scrambling to make the playoffs. And there's a line there for me that differentiates the top and the middle, and certainly the bottom of the West. In the East, I don't see a line. I see Tampa Bay and Carolina having nice seasons and very good teams, but I don't see them as these powerhouse teams that like a Colorado is, right? So I think there's a chance. Do I think it can be pulled off the way the Lightning have played? No. Because again, we're going from the goal out, and you're starting with Andre Vasilevsky, before you get to players like Kucherov and Point, Hedman, and so on. So that's a remarkable team and organization.
Talking with one of the best play-by-play voices in all of sports, John Forsland. Follow him on Twitter at John Forsland, joining us here on X's and Bros. I was surprised that Artemi Panarin went to the Kings. Not that he was moved, but that he went to the Kings. How much did that surprise you? And what's the next big chip to fall in the NHL trade moves?
Well, nothing surprises me anymore because the players have total control. So once players like this, superstar players that sign long-term contracts that lock them in with no movement clauses and heavy no trade clauses, once these things happen, you give the control to the player and the agent. So the teams are hamstrung. And when great players decide they don't want to be part of a program anymore, or an organization decides that they have to retool and they're not going to re-up a player in his mid-30s to mega millions, then that player gets to pick where they want to go. So it's hard for any of us to understand, hard for me to understand what you're thinking right now. You can't understand what I'm thinking right now. And we can't certainly, as fans, understand what's in the head of Artemi Panarin. It's a personal choice based on lifestyle, based on the team, what he's heard. Apparently, a couple of his friends around the league, and certainly Vladislav Gavrikov, who plays for the Rangers, longtime King, put in a great word about that organization. And I think LA has a lot of luster there. I know that there have been reports linking the Kraken to a player like this, or at least making an attempt. I think they're in that conversation with Washington and Tampa and Carolina. Those are the teams that have been reported, so I think there's some validity to it. But if the Kraken offered what's been reported, that's twice as much money and twice as much term, and he took less to go there and establish himself and get another contract when he's 36. So it's personal choice. As far as the next peg to see moved here, that'll be interesting, because I think right now, we had one trading deadline, which was prior to the Olympics. Now we're going to go into this hiatus period, watch the Olympics, and the teams are going to kind of meet again and reconvene and see where they're at. And then when we come out of the break, the sprint's on, and you've got about a week before the trading deadline. So I think it's a reassessment time. And I think a lot of the players that were in play could still be. Maybe there's some new ones that we don't know about right now, because teams 2 weeks ago that thought they had a chance might not now. And then those teams, like, say, the team that I work for, the Kraken, they've got 4 guys on expiring contracts. 2 weeks ago, they were all in play for sure. Now, I'm not sure what the direction is going to be for management, because you got a tough choice. You can't sell off the farm and tell your fans you're not going to make the playoffs when they've enjoyed a season like this, and you got an opportunity in an expansion market to get them back to the playoffs for the second time in 5 years. And in Seattle, there's a high price point for tickets, and there's demand, and there's renewals up now, and people want to see the team win. They're not necessarily interested in what a managerial plan is for the next 5 years. So it's interesting. It's catch-22. So it's hard to say who's next, but I think it's going to be interesting to watch the teams kind of reassess what the value is of some of these players.
What a year it's been for you folks in Seattle. I mean, when you got the Mariners going to the World Series and you got the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl and the favorite to win on Sunday, I'm sure you'll be glued to that. Having a need and how much you have to give up for that need at this time of the year is a very tough and balancing act that many general managers have to put on. I know what I would like if I'm the Red Wings. What do you think they need more than anything else? Because I hear about scoring all the time. I would like to see another defenseman. What would be your take on that from afar?
Yeah, I think they could use a piece or two that could make them a little bit tougher. And I'm not talking about dropping the gloves. I'm just talking about physical players. I think we've also talked about this in the past. They're a little soft around the edges as far as I'm concerned. And I think, look at the blueprint that we probably won't see this year due to injury and based on the fact that they played for the Cup 3 years in a row and won it. But Florida has shown the league that when you get to the spring, and you get to the Stanley Cup playoffs, you have to have all of those things in place. You have to have all your scoring, game breakers, star players, goaltender, but you got to be able to intimidate the other team physically too. And that was a defining line, and I was there to see it firsthand between Carolina and Florida last year in the conference final. It wasn't even close. So Detroit has been built in a similar way. They've done an excellent job rebuilding the team. They've done an excellent job of drafting and developing young players that are going to be at the core of everything moving forward. But I think if you augment those guys with a couple of bookends that can push back at the other side when you get into the same opponent 2 weeks scenario, that would help. And that might not take much. There might be players that are available that, are just going to come in and they're supplementary pieces and it's going to cost you a low draft choice. And you get that guy and move on. Defensive help is always good. You got to have depth. You got to have players because you're going to have injuries. You got to go 2 defensemen deep on your group probably to win. You got to have at least 2 forwards, that's there to not just your American League call-ups that you use during the year. You got to have those players of experience, hopefully, and stability that can help you in a playoff series. So those are the minor things that could be major. That they need to do. I think they have everything else. They're well coached. They've got young star players. They've got leadership. They've got a dominant defenseman, a young dominant defenseman, which is great, and a goalie who has had an outstanding season with experience that could be an X factor in a playoff series. And then as I said at the top, you're in a conference with tremendous competitive balance that anything's possible. Even if they match up in a wild card position against, a Carolina or something like that, they would give them a run in the first round, in my opinion.
Can I give you 2 names? And I'm sure you get this all the time, and you probably just shake your head. But and I don't know what it would take. So I want to be very transparent when it comes to all that. But Detroit does have a depth of good young players. I really like Dougie Hamilton. I think he's a big, strong, right-handed shooting defenseman who would be perfect on Detroit's second defensive pairing with Ben Sherrod, and then you send him Pellica down a spot. Could be wrong there, but that. And then I really liked Kiefer Sherwood because of that physical edge. Obviously, didn't get him, but Vincent Trocheck does have. He had 214 hits last year. He can score. He plays rough around the edges. He's a second line center. And he's a guy who has some history here in Detroit because of his youth. What would you think about either one of those guys as a possibility?
Well, I think they're all exactly what we're talking about. So again, Sandin Pellica, excellent young defenseman, puck transporter, little undersized. If you move him down, you're strengthening your team. If he is in the slot he's in right now, there's a good chance he plays well, and there's also an excellent chance he gets overwhelmed in the playoff series. That could easily happen, and you'd look at it, say he's a young guy going through this, cut him some slack, and that would all be true. Hamilton would fortify it. He's a high-end player with the puck. He's often misunderstood. I know him. I was with him and covered him in Carolina for his time there, and it was excellent. That would be a fit. Sherwood, the market's going to be, aching for this guy. He is perfect for what I was talking about. He's a top 9 forward with bite, who can score you a goal, who can get around the ice to hit people. We're not talking about, the physicality in the old way that we did. We're talking about a player that can make a difference that way. Yeah, that would help too. But I'll tell you what, the team he's on right now should, in my opinion, should keep him. But we'll see what they do with that chip. And as far as Vinny Trocheck, that's another player that, a team like Carolina is probably coveting to get back. They had him, lost him, probably should have kept him, found a way to re-sign him. They didn't, and maybe they would have already won their cup by now if they did that, and they didn't do it. So he would come in there, and again, he's the ideal two-center. Win your face-off, your right-handed shot, gets around the ice, plays with some bite, scores goals, has skill, can be on your first power play easily. You get some high grades here, Matt, for these selections. I don't know what it's worth between a conversation between the two of us, but it's interesting because those are the types of things that I think the Red Wings would absolutely need, but they're going to be in heavy competition.
Yeah.
And as we get down to March 6th, it's really going to be interesting to see, what these teams do to in terms of what their haul is coming back and what position of strength the dealing teams have, with the teams that want to get in that war for a player like Trocheck. I think that would be a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah, the beauty is he's affordable and he's only 32. Great insight as always. Wish you and everybody in Seattle the best on Super Bowl Sunday. Keep up the great work, John. I know we've bugged you a few times, but it's always great to learn from you and always great to visit. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Matt. Reach out anytime. You have a great weekend and enjoy the Super Bowl, and let's have a great run to the end of the season and then the best time of the year, those Stanley Cup playoffs. So we'll talk again. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a beauty. Thank you very much. John Forsland joining us, the best play-by-play voice there is. I mean, Seattle Kraken, TNT. Love listening to him call a hockey game.
He's awesome. Flatly.
The knowledge just pours out of him. It's beautiful. Speaking of knowledge, let's get to the final results of the poll question from yesterday and then the daily wager. Trent, fire away with the final results of the poll question, the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day.
Yeah, so yesterday we asked you, what's your reaction to the Tigers signing of Framber Valdez? Is it they still need a bat? Scott Harris is redeemed. They expect to lose Skubal, or why give him the cash and not Skubal? 45% said they still need a bat.
I would agree with them. I think they're 100% right about that. But let's hope they can overcome it with back-to-back lefties that are as good as there is in baseball. How about the daily wager? Neither one of us did well. Okay, let's just be honest.
Yeah, we did not.
It was awful. Yeah, it was awful.
I thought the Pistons would win with ease, and of course they didn't. This has been a hell week for the daily wager.
Yes.
I got to be honest, but I hope I don't jinx this. I will simply. It's got to be a Super Bowl bet. I'm going to take the under. I don't even know what the point spread is, but I'm going to take the under because I think both defenses are going to ball out of their minds. I think we see something similar to 2018, like a 13-3 or a 13-7 or something like that. And Shep, you and I always talk about how a defensive battle can sometimes be just as entertaining as a high-scoring game. So I'm thinking we get,
unless there's
the
constant
under.
3 and outs. Yeah. If it's constant 3 and outs, I would like to see the chains move once in a while. I'd like the people get scoring threats.
Sure.
So,
but give me the under.
Okay. Good stuff, man. Two of the best defenses. What a good show today. Thanks to John Forsland. Thanks to Lindsey Hunter. Thanks to Steve Sparks, Mitch Lyons, Trent Bally, and you for giving us some of your time on a Ferris Coffee Friday. We're back with you Monday morning, 6 o'clock. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody, and have a great weekend.
It's time to go on the court. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code